Pippa Hudson on Cape Talk.
Family Matters is brought to you by Kaluma Education, introducing Gemini, the online tool that gets your child talking. Now, in Family Matters today, we want to focus on the concept of working as an au pair overseas. What's expected of you, what the benefits can be, what you need to be aware of if you are considering this, perhaps for a gap year, working after finishing school or after finishing your studies. For some, it can be an opportunity to see more of the world, to experience a new culture, perhaps have an opportunity to study overseas. But of course, we've all heard the horror stories. If it's not properly arranged through a reputable source, it can all end in tears, which is why we have asked the professionals to join us today to lead the discussion. My guests are from Cultural Care Au Pair, an agency based here in Cape Town, which facilitates placing young women in positions in the USA. And I'd like to invite you, as always, if you have any questions for them. Perhaps you have a child who is in the appropriate age bracket who might be considering this. Perhaps it's you yourself who are considering a gap year of this sort. Please do take the opportunity to phone in with a question on 021 446 0567 or send an SMS to 31567. It's a very warm welcome, first of all, to Cultural Care's Country Program Manager, Zsofia, Ivony, as well as to Semone Reinke, who is herself an ex-au pair. Lovely to have you both with us.
Thank you very much.
Zsofia, let's start with you and let's start with Cultural Care. How long have you been in operation?
Cultural Care has been around for 25 years. We are in 23 countries, so South Africa is just one of them. Mm-hmm. And we all recruit au pairs from those countries. And we supply these au pairs, or give these au pairs to our American host families. Mm-hmm. We have more than 9,000 families in America waiting for au pairs.
Really? The market's that big? Okay.
It's huge, yes.
And I mean, how do you identify the families? Do they come to you in America saying, we want somebody, can you find us the right person?
Yes, absolutely. So they want reliable childcare and they want a live-in au pair. And that's, it's mutual benefit because the au pairs live with the family. Mm-hmm. So they experience a new culture and also they get to study at an American college part-time, and also they are in America, they experiencing America, and they get some experience with looking after children.
So of course you walk away at the end of it with the CV that has that extra year of
Absolutely.
something rather than
international work experience. It is a full-time job, so definitely it's been recognized as an international work experience.
Absolutely. When you talk about a live-in, reliable childcare provider, what are the sorts of responsibilities that an au pair would be required to do there, and what would they not be required to do?
First of all, the first and foremost, the most important responsibility is the kids. Mm-hmm. So they have to look after the children. They can work up to 10 hours per day, 45 hours per week. They cannot work more than that. It's all regulated by the U.S. State Department. And obviously, anything related to the children, so like, for example, fixing up a light breakfast or doing the children's laundry, cleaning their bedrooms, but not like cleaning the whole house, cooking for the whole family, and, do all the shopping for the whole family. But anything kids-related is their responsibility.
So things like fetching from school, homework, and that kind of thing.
Absolutely,
okay.
Yes.
Now, before we move on to more about who can do it from this side, I just want to ask you about the families themselves. I assume as much as you will vet the candidates on this side to make sure that they are truly reliable people, you must have to do the same on the other side.
Absolutely. As I said, we are regulated by the U.S. State Department, and so as the families. So we do regular criminal background checks with the families. We do inspect the houses where the au pairs are staying. They must have their own room, which is clean, and obviously they cannot share it with anybody. And then we do have interviews with every single family member before we take them onto the program.
So if a mother listening is thinking of sending off her 18-year-old straight out of school, she can be confident that the home that they are going to is going to be one where she'll be well treated.
It's definitely the way it is. And we also we do regular checks during the au pair's visit as well. So if anything goes wrong, a family can be removed of the program. So it's not like we are keeping on. Keeping the families.
Let me maybe bring you in here, Semone. You had the experience of working as an au pair. Tell us where you were and what it was like for you.
So I was in Chicago from January 2011 to January 2013, so for 2 years. and I really enjoyed myself. The family, I've gained a whole new American family, and I'm not even just saying the mom and the dad and the little girl. I'm saying like the grannies, the grandpa.
Really?
So, and I'm still in communication with them. I've been back for 2 years now, and they're coming to visit me actually at the end of the year.
That's fantastic. What sort of responsibilities did you see to in yours 2 years?
Well, my little girl was 4 years old, so I had to pick her up from school. I had to take her to her extra activities, make sure that she was at home safe, that we did educational games, that she was constantly active, like she wasn't just sitting in front of the TV. We were always doing new activities. She was always learning new things. If it was doing maths or just like letters or even baking, so
that you were keeping her stimulated
that's
and active.
Correct, yeah.
Now, you were there for 2 years. Was it for you? Was it a gap year after school or after studies? When did you decide you wanted to do this?
Well, I studied, and then I actually went into au pairing here in South Africa because I just love working with children. And then I just decided one day that why not go overseas and get to travel while doing something that I absolutely love. So, yeah.
And how much opportunity did you have to travel while you were over there?
I actually traveled 25 states with my family and by myself. And then I actually got the opportunity to go with them to France, Italy, and Barcelona.
Wow. So you got an overseas holiday to Europe as well.
Correct.
Okay, that's amazing. And what about studying there? Zsofia's mentioned that their program comes with the opportunity to study part-time at an American university. Did you do that?
That's correct. So for the first year, I did 2 weekend courses that the au pair agency actually provides that you get to choose from. So basically it was just 2 weekend courses learning about Chicago and the history and the different culture. And then in my second year, I did a health, nutrition and safety course at a local community college. And I did sign language and drawing. And then I wanted to take French, but unfortunately it was in my time that I had to work, so I couldn't do that.
So, there's a lot of extra skills you've picked up. Since coming back, has the learning experience there helped you find work here or contributed to what you do now?
Well, when I got back, I was here for 2 weeks, and then I got straight back into au pairing.
Okay,
So,
and are you still doing that now?
I actually work for Culture Care full-time now.
Full-time, okay. So you are now facilitating somebody
That's
else
correct.
having the same experience. Fantastic.
Yes.
My guests are from Cultural Care Au Pair, Zsofia Ivony, who's the country program manager, and Semone Reinke, who works for them but is also one of their former au pairs herself, having been through the program. If there's anything you would like to know about the process, please do give us a call on 021 446 0567. Send an SMS to 31567, or you can tweet your question at Cape Talk 567.
The Midday Report.
As a legal officer of your experience, what is your view of what's going on in the NPA at the moment?
Regrettably, my view is that the methodology used by government to appoint people in positions has to be revisited. You can't influence this office with political considerations. It just can't be right.
Advocate Nazir Kassem, chair of the Nkosana Inquiry.
The Midday Report with Stephen Chrysis on Cape Talk, your #1 news and talk station.
I used to love playing soccer with my dad. He was paralyzed after a drunk driver lost control of his car and crashed into him. Now we can't play anymore. He also can't work anymore, and Mom can't afford to pay our bills.
For the compensation you and your family deserve, contact A. Batchelor and Associates, specialists in motor vehicle accident claims. Call us on 021 422 1182 or visit batchelor.co.za. If we don't succeed, you don't pay.
Bicester has completed more than 80,000 kitchen installations. 80,000 installations teaches you a lot, like getting all the decision makers involved from the start. How essential it is to ask the right questions. Visit the client's home, view the space, and discuss what's needed until the client is completely satisfied. We understand the importance of giving customers value for money, which is why we give a 40% discount when you sign on the spot. Visit Bicester.co.za. Bicester, beyond expectation.
Before we are South African, we are African. Before we are African, we are human. As humans, we have not much apart from our humanity.
This is Garth Taylor. I say no to xenophobia.
I'm Paul Adams, and I say no to xenophobia.
This is Jules from Good Luck,
and I say no to xenophobia.
Slopey Rossman, and I say no to xenophobia.
This is Elvis Blue, and I say no to xenophobia.
I'm Daniel Barron, and I say no to xenophobia.
I'm Heinz Winkler, and I say no to xenophobia.
I'm Toyota Lazy, and I say no to xenophobia.
Stand up against xenophobia. Lead SA.
Pippa Hudson on Cape Talk. Call Pippa on 021 446 0567.
We're back with Family Matters, talking to cultural care au pair about what it takes to work as an au pair in the US in this particular case. Zsofia Ivony is their country program manager. Semone Reinke, my second guest, a former au pair herself who now works for the company. And you were saying to me in the break, Zsofia, that in fact all of you at Cultural Care have experience as working au pairs yourselves.
Yes, absolutely. This is something that is, I think, unique, and we can provide the information, firsthand that we experience. We always, whenever we have a meeting, we always try to tell the audience about our experiences. And then, for example, if a girl asks us a question, we say, for example, this is what I did. So it always comes firsthand. I mean, I was an au pair myself. I'm originally from Hungary, and I au paired in England. I did not speak English up until the age of 18. So I learned it there. So that was my subject that I studied. And the others are all in America. So they did exactly this program. And for example, Semone even extended because it's a minimum of 1 year commitment, which can go up to 2 years as well. Okay. So when I'm hiring somebody, I definitely look into whether they've been au pairs or not. And also if they have any international experience or not.
Okay, is it a requirement that anybody joining the program must have had previous childcare experience of some sort?
Absolutely. It's a minimum of 200 hours that all candidates must have. And that 200 hours doesn't have to be official. So it's like looking after your cousins and brothers and all of that, but also church, working in the church, volunteering at a crash, babysitting neighbors. So it's 200 hours of non-related experience as well as related experience.
Okay, good to know that. I want to talk to you a bit more about the other requirements, but first a question for Semone from Susan in Cape Town. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I just wanted to know what made the au pair want to leave after 2 years, and how does that affect the little girl? Thank you. I'm here on the radio.
Thank you for the call, Susan.
Well, the program's only available for a year or two, and then you have to come home. But the little girl got a new South African au pair from the program immediately after me. So I think there was only a week break between the two.
Okay, so you were able to hand over to another South African.
That's
that must
correct.
have at least had a sense of continuity for her. Thank you for the question, Susan. What are the other requirements, Zsofia? We've mentioned, so 200 hours of accumulated experience, whether it's in babysitting or volunteering in the youth group at church, for example. What else are the basic requirements to take part?
Well, we need matric certificate. You don't need to pass it greatly, you just have to pass it. And also a driver's license. Now, this is the biggest hurdle for the South African girls so far, is getting their driver's license on time so that they can leave when they want to leave. Because obviously driving is required. As Semone said, you have to go and pick the kids up from school, you have to take them to school. So without driving, you can't really exist in America. It's really difficult.
Is the South African driver's license acknowledged there? Because I lived in the States for 2 years, and the first thing I remember on arrival is my mom having to retake her driver's test in Texas. Does that still happen?
Well, it can. So what happens is that basically before they leave, they get an international driver's license based on their driver's license. And they leave to the US with that. But obviously from state to state, the law changes. So in some states, you can drive with an international driver's license, but in some states, they want state driver's license. So what we recommend to the girls is that once you get there, just have your state driver's license done. It's, as you experienced, it's not at all like our driver's license test. It's really nothing. And then you have an American driver's license, which is pretty cool, and then it's valid for 10 years.
And that covers you wherever you might go.
Absolutely.
Okay. You say she, they, the girls, somebody predictably asking, what about the men? You only take young women, is that correct?
Well, it is not 100% correct. If we do take some male candidates, but they have to be a little bit older, they have to have tertiary education, they have to have a huge interest in children, so they like training to be coaches or as child psychologists or sports coaches and all of that. So, we want a little bit more, and also they need a little bit more childcare experience. I would say at least 400 hours, because we want to make sure that, we can find them a family. So they have to be exceptional.
Okay, thank you for that. Natalie asking on Twitter, why are the au pairs always a young girl? What about an au pair in their 30s or 40s or even 50s? Do you have an age limit?
Well, this is a very, very good question. We are, as I said, regulated by the US State Department, and as the J1 visa outlines, you can only get a J1 visa, which is a specialized visa for au pairing, which is a study and work permit.
Right.
You can only be between the ages of 18 and 26.
Okay, so you are limited by what the visa limit says.
It's the visa
18
requirement.
to 26.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If you have more questions like Natalie's, please do tweet them at Cape Talk 567 or send them by SMS to 31567. You can also give us a call on 021 446 0567. What sort of salary can a young girl expect working as an au pair in the States?
I think it is a pretty good salary, considering the fact that these young girls normally fresh out of school and they have no work experience. So they can get $195 per week. That translates into about 2,000 Rand per week. And if we want to think in terms of salaries, it's about 8,000 Rand per month.
Okay, and that's besides the fact that their living expenses, I assume, are already being covered.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What else is provided by the host family?
They also provide up to $500 towards the girl's studies at the local college. So if the girl is choosing a course that's more than $500, they have to contribute. If they choose a course that's less than $500, they cover, the family pays for it.
Okay. Is there any differentiation in the salary based on the experience or perhaps the education level of the person going over?
No, it is also outlined by the J1 visa regulation,
Right.
so every au pair gets the same amount.
And do you get time off to travel on your own while you're there?
Absolutely. You get 2 weeks paid holiday. And that 2 weeks it can be 1 week here, 1 week there. It can be 2 weeks together. And some au pairs choose to go with the family on a vacation, for example, like I think Semone did, right? And for example, I did it as well. I went to Spain with the family. So instead of going home and cry on my mother's shoulder that I don't want to go back and all of that, I went to Spain with the family, and I spent the vacation there. And it was absolutely a holiday, but it doesn't mean that you always get to go with the family. Obviously, it depends on the family, but then this is the time when you can plan your own travels
as well. Semone, let's talk a little bit about the psychological benefits. You've spoken obviously about the work experience and the very close family relationships that you developed over there. What else were the benefits that you feel you accrued from this experience for you?
Well, first of all, the traveling, definitely being able to go explore as much as possible in America, and I think also just making international friends. I mean, I'm not just making friends from America, I'm making friends from all over the world, especially the first week when we go to au pair school in New York. I mean, that's just au pairs from all over the world about to embark on the same journey as you are. So you make lifelong friends from all around the world.
You said you started at au pair school, so you don't just go in there and get placed straight into the family. There is a bit of a buffering period where you are being introduced to it.
That's correct. So you arrive at an au pair school in Long Island, New York, and you're there for about 4 days. You leave on the Friday, and that's just thorough training. You get told what you're going to expect in your year, what to do in certain circumstances, first aid training. So all of that, you leave on a Friday to go to your family feeling confident.
Okay, great. I'm glad you mentioned the first aid training, because that was something I was going to ask, Zsofia. Do you need to have that before you go, or is it handled there?
It is handled there, yes.
Okay. Right, we're almost out of time, but we can squeeze in a few more calls on 021 446 0567. Now's your opportunity. If you have any questions about the process, anything you've ever wanted to know, do take advantage of having two people here who know a lot about it and can answer those questions for you. Zsofia, how does it work in terms of funding cultural care? How do you make money out of this process? You guys are a business after all.
Well, our program fee is very, very affordable. It's 7,000 Rand, and we do not have any application fee or anything. You don't have to pay anything before we find you a family, and we can guarantee you a family. So basically, as I mentioned, we have 9,000 host families in the USA, and obviously they pay fees as well to join the program.
Right.
And this is, we don't really want to make money on the South African girls. We want to provide a great service.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our
So
goal.
they come to you and say, I want to do this. They've passed through all your clearance checks. You find them a family. At that point, they pay cultural care,
Yes.
7,000 Rand. And
Yes.
and then what about the travel costs? Are those covered by the family?
No, it is included in the program fee. So the 7,000 Rand includes the return ticket. So they go to America, and a year later we pay for their ticket to come back, the 4-day au pair school, and a basic insurance package. That's the 7,000 Rand program fee that they only require to pay after they've been matched and after they have a family.
Okay. I mean, that's. I'm surprised the figure is that low, given that it includes the ticket prices. You mentioned insurance. I mean, it's very tough, I would imagine, for a parent to put a young girl on a plane and send her halfway around the world and think, what if something goes wrong over there? Is that what is covered by that?
Yes, absolutely. But that's just the basic insurance that we have to have. But we do provide options for extra insurance, for sports insurance. So if the parent feels a little bit, like, oh, I don't know if my child will be safe there, then they have the option to purchase extra insurance as well. And we always recommend that.
Okay. Have you ever had it all go wrong? Have you had girls who've gone over there and just been miserable and found this experience is not for me? What happens then?
Well, first of all, they always talk to their local childcare consultant. So there is support over there in Boston, or they contact the Boston head office. And then if all goes wrong, then they can transfer to a new family, so they can go into transition. But then if they go into transition, then they have only 2 weeks to find a new family, and that can be risky because maybe their application is not that strong and they can't find a family and they have to come home. So that's always a last resort. It's always first talk to the family, talk to your local childcare consultant, talk to Boston, and then it's fine.
Right. I'm guessing that there are probably lots of people listening who might be interested in knowing where they find out more and how to contact you.
They should first of all they can go into our website www.culturalcare.co.za. Second of all, we have free information meetings, like we have one on this Saturday, so they can sign up on the website. They can also call us on 021 422 0807. They can find us on Facebook as well, and they can email us to aupair.za@culturalcare.com.
aupair.za@culturalcare.com.
That's
okay. We will put all of those details up on our own website as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Our
Thank
best
you very
wishes
much.
to you, Semone Reinke, who was the former au pair you heard speaking, and Zsofia, Ivony, the country program manager. Great to have you with us this afternoon. That has brought the time to 2:30, and before